Aloha! Welcome back to the Bishop Museum's Library and Archives. I'm Hadley Andersen.
I am DeSoto Brown, the Bishop Museum historian, and it's time for Throwback Thursday.
And so, for this Throwback Thursday, what are we going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about the upcoming Journeys exhibit, which opens here at Bishop Museum to the public on Sunday, August 14th.
Now, that doesn't sound
Talking about the old days as they were lived on the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay, so the Journeys exhibit is about the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands. And those are the islands which extend up to the north. My co-worker, Kapaliku, did a very interesting broadcast last week in which he explained all of the history, what the name is for, etc. And that nature preserve is under discussion a great deal right now because
They want to expand it.
they want to expand it. And so let's turn this around so you see where we are. And so that's something that's happening right this minute. Well, in any case, let's talk about some of the old days on some of those Northwestern Hawaiian Islands.
Okay, great.
Okay, so here we go. Can you come in and see that? There you go. This is a photograph of one of those Northwestern Hawaiian Islands. This is either Nihoa or Mokumanamana. I cannot remember right at the moment which one it is. But you can see that this is a very rocky island. It's a very, very inaccessible island. And of course, there are men at the bottom of the picture. This is a group of men who visited this island to post signs that it was a nature preserve way back in about 1919.
Oh, wow.
So that's been going on for a long time. But my point about this particular island is that it is so rocky and so difficult to do anything with that these islands, the rocky high islands, didn't really get exploited or used a great deal by people. However, some of the other islands, which are low and sandy, had some rather terrible things done to them. And this, particularly, is about the island of Laysan.
Laysan.
Okay, so now this island, as you can see, is just covered with birds. This is a picture taken at about 1891. And the natural inhabitants of this island were millions, thousands, billions of birds and different types of birds. But in this case, you see that there are not a few of them, but they're covering the entire ground. Now, this led to something which was kind of unexpected economically, because when you have lots of birds, they produce a lot of guano. That's bird droppings.
Okay.
And that is significant because people realized that was fertilizer. So for large-scale fertilizer, you needed lots of large-scale agriculture, you need a lot of fertilizer. And they said, look at these islands out in the Pacific. It's just nothing but fertilizer deposited millions of years by birds. And so they went and dug it all up, or they dug a great deal of it up. Now, of course, that's a great deal of the surface of the island. So that means that there's a lot of damage to the surface of the island when people dig several feet of it away and ship it off to Honolulu to be turned into fertilizer. So that's what you see going on here. This is a commercial company that went to the island and just dug it all up to turn it into fertilizer, and they acknowledged the source of the fertilizer in their logo. So this is the Pacific Guano and Fertilizer Company, and there's their commercial logo, and it's the birdie right there that produced all that fertilizer.
It's the Laysan albatross. You're exactly right.
There it is. There it is. High-grade fertilizer. Well, it wasn't just that was used by people, because unfortunately, in the early 1900s, there was a fashion for women to wear really big, elaborate hats with feathers.
Now, I was thinking that you were going to talk about that. I had no idea about the fertilizer, but yeah. The feather trade.
The feather trade. So unfortunately, at this point, and you can see in this photograph, which is taken about 1910, these are fashionable women here in Honolulu, and they've all got these huge hats on with not only individual feathers, but as you can see in this upper corner here, this lady's hat actually has bird parts. It's got wings on her hat. So that was something else that got done to Laysan Island. It was tens of thousands of birds were killed just for their feathers because this was fashionable at the time.
Now, actually, they almost hunted
Correct.
because of this feather trade.
Yeah, and it was, and this was something actually all over the world. I mean, there were birds that were pushed almost to extinction or sometimes to extinction just so that women could put feathers on their hats, which is a pretty terrible situation. And you know, if you really wanted to have eye-catching something eye-catching on the top of your head. Why didn't you just dye your hair blue?
That's what I do.
And it works. And you're not harming any wildlife by doing so. Well,
Just myself.
just your own scalp. Well, anyway, this photograph is a pretty shocking one. This is also taken in 1891, also on Laysan Island. And it is a Hawaiian monk seal which has been beaten to death. Now, those little boys are posing for this photograph. The seal is already dead. They didn't actually kill it themselves. I'm sure adults did. But there are also turtles in the background, which have been set up on their backs so they can't escape. And this, unfortunately, was the attitude of many people, not only for the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands, but for nature all over the world. Just kill what you want all the time. Just do it either because you have to eat it or because you just want to kill for fun. So today, this is completely unthinkable. The monk seal, of course, is protected, but
As are the hanus, as are the green sea turtles.
as the turtles. And fortunately, because of these depredations and because of the terrible things that happen, the federal government of the United States did set up the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands as a bird preserve and refuge in the early 1900s. So that protection has been in place for a long time, and it continues and is probably going to increase. Well, we'll see very soon. And some things, came back from the trouble that they went through, and even in spite of terrible depredations, as I said, but not all of them did. This photograph, again, is from 1891, and you can see there are two small palm trees in the picture here on Laysan Island. Well, unfortunately, by the time scientists were able to get to the island, these trees were extinct. So we don't know exactly what kind of palms they were. We certainly know that they are Pritchardia palms. They are Lolu palms, which are native to the Hawaiian Islands, and there are many different species of Lolu. But we don't know exactly what species this was because nobody was ever able to collect them for scientific purposes for us to be able to compare and know what they were, because, as I say, by the time scientists got there in the early 1900s, they were all gone. So there are some stories of things coming back, and there are some stories of things that never did come back. In any case, that's just one of the stories that is connected to the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands, and that's what's going to be discussed and shown to you in the Journeys exhibit that opens here at BishopMuseum just a few days from now.
Just this Sunday on August 14th.
August 14th. So, in addition to coming to BishopMuseum to see the Journeys exhibit and all the other wonderful things that we have, we're online.
So if you can't make it to the BishopMuseum, check us out online. Of course, you're watching us on Facebook Live, hopefully, so you've already checked us out on Facebook. And go ahead and check out our website to see our upcoming really great information about.
Absolutely, and again, there's always different stuff happening, always kinds of different exciting things for adults, for children, and we do all kinds of stuff here. We have a lot of exciting programming, lots of fun stuff. So come and see us either electronically or in person. So, till next week.
Till next week for Throwback Thursday, but if you want to join me tomorrow, I'll be in the Journeys exhibit looking at some specimens, some Laysan albatross specimens that are going to be on display.
Oh, I know. I've seen some of those. I worked on that exhibit. I know what's in it. Okay, so until next Throwback Thursday, aloha from everybody here at BishopMuseum.
Aloha.